Hi there, today I'm going to be doing an awesome comparison video between Birkenstocks and Mephisto. Many of you are probably very familiar with Birkenstocks, many of you are not familiar with Mephisto. Today I hope to get you to be very well understanding on both brands and help you understand which is the best product for your money. Stay tuned. Alright, well, welcome to another edition of the Shoe Guru Shoe Review. Today I'm doing a comparison video between a Birkenstock and a Mephisto. Many of you are very familiar with Birkenstocks, very unfamiliar with Mephisto, I'm sure. Birkenstock, they've been around forever, since 1774, Mephisto since 1963, so they definitely have had a lot less time for people to get to know them. Birks are always made in Germany. Mephisto is going to be made in two different places. They'll either be made in France, where they're headquartered, or they'll be made in Portugal. Today I've got two of the women's examples. We have the Mayari and the Nalia. They're both very similar in terms of style, in terms of construction. They both will use a natural cork bottom. A lot of the Birks will be full leather. This particular one, it is vinyl. And then this Mephisto is always going to be leather. To the best of my knowledge, they don't use vinyl on any of their shoes. So what separates these two brands? Birkenstock kind of really hasn't changed anything about their shoes too much. Recently they did come out with the soft footbed maybe about 5 or 6 years ago, and other brands like Mephisto have kind of already been incorporating that for years. The big difference here is where this is just going to be cork, and then you're going to have the EVA on the bottom. This one is going to have cork with EVA, but in between the two there is an air channeling system that lets air move through the shoe, so when you step it gives a little bit more of a shock absorption. So if you look at the heel right here, there's going to be some holes. This is going to allow air to circulate through the shoe while you walk. This one, it's a lot closer to the narrow footbed as well. That's just the standard fit. So for men and women out there who don't like Birks because they're so wide on their feet, I think Mephisto is a great option for you. You're not going to sacrifice arch support or comfort. In fact, I think you'll actually be gaining it. A couple other little things to note. The Birkenstocks, they're very rigid, very stiff. Some people don't like that. Meanwhile, the Mephisto, it flexes very well. So if you're looking for something that's going to give a little bit more as you walk, make it a little easier, then again, the Mephisto is the best choice. As I mentioned earlier, this particular one, it is not leather, it is vinyl. You got to be really careful when you're buying these Birks. Sometimes people will go into a store and they go, well, why are yours $100 and this other store is $125 for the same model? So there's usually a $25 to $35 price jump if you're going from vinyl to leather. With the Mayari model line, it's going to be a $25 jump. It is just simply based on materials. This is going to be a thin strip of vinyl up top, and it's going to have felt on the back. Meanwhile, the leather Mayaris that are $125, it's going to be a single cut of leather. It's very thick. It's going to be very unlikely you'll ever damage it. Now, that isn't to say that these are bad. I think honestly there's a really good place in everybody's wardrobe for these. If you're that individual who maybe they've bought in the brown or black Mayaris or other Birks and you want to get a fun color, go for the vinyl. You know, the vinyl ones, they are cheaper, so if you don't wear them as often, that's fine. But just be aware they're prone to tearing a lot more than, say, your standard leather one. Again, with these, they're going to be full leather the whole way through. It's going to be a single cut. Mephisto is very, very good about using the highest end material possible. So the leather is very soft, which is one thing I like about these versus the Birkenstock leather ones. Those are very stiff, very rigid. I know with my wife's, we had to take actually a brass bristle brush and brush the inside portion of the strap so it wasn't so rough on the skin. This is going to be soft right from the get-go. As I've already mentioned, there's the hard footbed and soft footbed for Birks. A lot of the Mayaris, they're going to be in the hard footbed. This is going to be a soft footbed, so that means in between the suede top and the cork, there's going to be memory foam in there. You can't really see it, but you can, when you press it, you can feel the cushion, whereas the other hard footbed Birks, they're just firm. Now, that is intended to fail, so don't expect the memory foam to last forever. It is literally there just to give you some support and cushion while the cork is breaking in. Now, with the cork, there's going to be some benefits and some negatives to this. So the benefit right out of the gate is it is a very porous material. So as you stand on it, your own body weight and temperature, it's going to mold that cork in, and it's going to give you a custom fit. I jokingly tell people, don't let your friends wear your Birkenstocks, and there's a real reason for that, because you don't want somebody else's footprint on your shoe and then it's not going to feel right for you. Meanwhile, the side effects to this is these factories, they both put seals on the side here. So that's designed to keep that moisture locked inside the shoe. If you do not apply a seal from time to time, you are going to find that that cork's going to crack and it's going to break and it's going to chip off. Best metaphor I can use is if you've ever had a wine bottle cork that you've left out on the counter just a couple days, it starts to get brittle and sometimes will begin to crumble. Now put that on your shoe as you're walking around and you're kicking, you know, the sidewalk or the curbs or whatever. So you just want to make sure to maintain that. For Birkenstock, you know, you can replace the cork, but it's like $85 just for cork. You know, especially if you're buying the vinyl shoe, you might as well just buy a new shoe at that point. However, for $8, you can get some cork seal, actually. So the brand Cadillac, they've got their own cork seal. So it is a brush applicator. I mean, you basically just paint this on like fingernail polish. Another good metaphor is Mod Podge. It goes on white, dries clear, and the example that I can tell everybody is when the finish on there looks dull, it's kind of the shoe's tell. You know, you need to brush this on. And I say put it on a little thin so it dries faster, but then also doesn't goop up. You put it on too heavy, it's going to goop up and you're going to have to cut it off, and then you're going to have to reapply another layer. Now, the one thing that everybody who's had Birkenstocks has dealt with at least once in their life is the black footprint. This will apply to the Mephistos as well as any other brand out there that's got either a natural leather or suede footbed. You just, over time, your skin is filtering out oil and dirt and it ends up on the shoe and it collects over time, and that's what that black mark is. So if you don't have any odors and you just want to clean it and get it back to that natural color, I'd recommend doing something like a suede eraser kit. The suede eraser itself has some sand mixed into it, so it's a little more abrasive. It's going to get in there and get that dirt off, and then in this case it comes with a brush. You can brush it. Now if you have some odors, or maybe you've got, let's be honest, some foot fungus or something like that, you're going to want to get something that's a cleaner. So this is what's called Sandal Life, from the same company that made the cork seal. So this is a detergent. You do not apply it directly to the shoe. You just mix it with some water, dip the brush in that, and then you'd scrub the footbed and wipe it clean. Though it's not directly recommended for this type of shoe, it is something that I've used on my wife's Birkenstocks, and I know it works very well. Couple other little fine points about these, the bottoms, the EVA foam. So on this particular model, this EVA foam is a little softer, so it probably will wear down faster than what the Birks have, but you can get these resold. It's very frustrating to see people who have a perfectly good Birkenstock or Mephisto where the cork and the leather is very intact and they want to get it replaced just because of the footbed. Take it to a cobble shop for $35 to $45. You can get it replaced and you're going to be much better off for it. So in terms of which of these is the better shoe, again, I'm going to give you my biased, honest opinion here. I'd say Mephisto. I think material wise it's the better choice. I think it's constructed much better. There's a lot more people who work for this company, so they have a little bit more quality control than what Birkenstock does. Meanwhile, Birkenstock is just very popular right now. So their production, which is, you know, maybe 200, 250 people tops, they're having to rush their production. So you're gonna find a lot more inconsistencies with the seal on the cork, the quality of the leather, and some glue. So where they adhere on the inside of the straps down here, you're going to find some good glue that's gummed up, and it may not fit perfectly right away, and you might have to mess with it a bit to get that goo off of there, as well as get any excess cork seal off. Where these guys, I mean 100% of the time, their shoes look great, and if they don't, they're very quick to want you to send it back, and so they can replace it and get you something that's in perfect condition. Customer service is always big with me, but as well as quality, and I think that's just what this is. This particular one, it's $100. This one's $140. If we consider the leather Birkenstock at $125, you know, this one is still $14 more, but I think for the $14, you're getting a better shoe. As I've instructed customers on how to think of these as Volkswagen and think of these as Audi, because Mephisto's a lot like its counterpart, the Birkenstock, but it's just a better product overall. They're going to be very hard to find in stores, and I would be wary of ordering it online if you do plan to go a size bigger than what you think. Okay, so a size 38 Birkenstock says it's a 7. A size 38 Mephisto says it's an 8. It's really a 7.5. Okay, here's a good example. This is a 38, this is a 39. They look almost identical in terms of length. Again, keep in mind, these are a lot narrower, so if you are a skinny-footed person, this is great. If you're not, you're going to definitely need to go up a size, but also you may need to look at some of their other models that will hold your foot a little better. That being said, in almost every scenario where I've had somebody put these on their feet, that kind of give me the, oh, I only wear Birks, you know, spiel, and I just tell them, you know, hey, you got to try this on, and they'll put it on and be like, wow, that is so much more comfortable. And that is, at the end of the day, I think what matters most. So on a scale of 1 to 5 here, how I'm going to rate both of these individual products, for this one, I'm going to include the leather ones here. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5, if I'm being completely honest, for 2 reasons. On the vinyl ones, I see a lot of them ripping. I see a lot of the straps right here getting warped, and so you're not getting your full money's worth. As for the leather ones, I'm just seeing a lot of inconsistencies in the leather. On the Mephisto, I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5, and that's a bit higher rating than what I normally give, but just because they're so meticulous about their detail. They really pride themselves on being literally the world's finest shoe company. So I definitely suggest that if you are in the market for buying a Birkenstock, whether you're buying the Mayari, the Arizona, or any of their other models, that you also look at Mephisto. They may not have direct, you know, similar models. Like right now, Mephisto does not offer an Arizona looking shoe for women, but they'll have some other models that'll be great. Thank you for watching my comparison video between the Birkenstock and Mephisto sandals. If you have been curious about either of these brands, hopefully this has helped you out. But also, if you've had an experience with either brand and you want to share that, comment it down below. I'm sure a lot of people right now in the middle of summer are looking for sandals, or would also love some great feedback from people who've had one or the other. I know when I first came into contact with Mephisto, I was very excited, but very unsure about how good it was for the price, and it was working with it that convinced me. And thank you for watching this video. I hope you'll click like and subscribe for more content like this. Thank you. Achoo!